To set up hotkeys or shortcut keys, first go to Options and come down and locate Customize Shortcuts. This window is going to open up and you're going to see a list of items, and this list corresponds to your menu across the top of the screen. And if you open up any one of these functions, then the list underneath it's also going to correspond to the same drop-down list if you selected that item. There is one additional item in this list, which is Tools, and this list corresponds to all of your icons and the submenus on your Tools toolbar. So you can not only just set up shortcut keys for any of the menu items across the top, but also for any of your tools that you use. Now then, there's already a lot of shortcut keys assigned in the software, so be sure to check out the list that I have on my website that you can download. And there's over like 100 different shortcut keys that are set up, and a lot of those are Control this or Alt that, whatever. But in addition, if you go under Layout and come down to Arrange and Distribute and Align to Last Object, there are 6 single letter shortcut keys that are already assigned, and these correspond to L for left, and you'll see it right here under the list. L for left, R for right, T for top, and B for bottom. Now those 4 are already assigned, and they're what I call single letter shortcut keys, because you only have to type just that letter. You don't have to do a Control or an Alt or anything, just that letter. Of course you have to select your objects to use them, but once you have more than one object selected, then any of these can be used to do alignment. They also have C and E, or E and C correspond to centers horizontally and centers vertically. Now these first 4 I find very useful, and I recommend just keeping them the way they are. The C and E, if you're already using the centers horizontally and centers vertically, then you might want to keep these. I don't use these 2, so I'm going to release those 2. And to do that, I just click on this E in the list and click on Remove. And then same thing for centers vertically, click on the C and click on Remove. Now I could use those E and C for other functions depending on what I need them for. Now I tend to always assign them just like they did with this, L for left, R for right, T for top, and B for bottom. That's very easy to remember, and that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that what you're assigning is going to be really handy. Now you may end up and have to make something that's a little different. I'll show you an example in a minute, and that's okay. So just make yourself a cheat sheet to use for the first month or however long it takes until it just becomes second nature. You just remember what it is all the time and you're using it without thinking. Then you won't need your cheat sheet any longer. Now then, let's say I wanted to change that file, that E to use for file export, because that's something I do a lot personally as I export a lot of files in different formats. I would come up under File, open it up, come down and locate Export. Now then, over here where you see the word None, I'm going to click right after the word None and type in the letter E. And you'll see that the word None is replaced with the letter E, and then I can click on Assign. Now then, E is a new shortcut key for export. Okay? Now then, and I could do the same thing for C. Now for this to take effect, I have to click on Apply. Before, if I just click on Close, then it's going to wipe out all the changes that I just made in terms of removing the ones I was using and assigning the new ones. So make sure you click on Apply before you click on Close. But let's assign a few more first. For example, one that I use a lot is the Array function under Layout. I love Layout Array, and you'll see that I assigned an A for the array. Another one I really like to use is under Options, and it's for removing guides. I like to use guidelines, but I've noticed that it's very awkward to go in and go to Options, Guides, Remove All Guides, or to bring up the Guides little window and go through and delete all the vertical ones and the horizontal ones. It's much easier if I have a single letter key for that. So I'm going to make that one G and assign G for Remove All Guides. And then as an example under the Tools, let's scroll down to Tools. And then again, the tools corresponds to my menu over here. And I like to add notes to my files before I share them with people. So under the Measure tools, I'm going to come down to Notes. And I'm going to make N for Notes. That'll be an easy one to remember. So anytime I type the letter N, it'll bring up the Notes menu for me to add notes to my file. Now there's a couple more. Now sometimes, there may already be hotkeys assigned. For example, if I go under Arrange and I select Make Path, Control H is a shortcut key for Make Path, and Control J is a shortcut key for Break Path. Now after 3.5 years of using the software, I have never gotten in the habit of using those two, and I think it's for 2 reasons. One is H and J are difficult letters to associate with Make and Break Path, but even more importantly, I think the reason I didn't get into it is that it's awkward for me to execute that on the keyboard, because it's a long stretch between the Control and the H, and the Control and the J, so it's just not comfortable for my hand to do that. So this is a case where I'm going to make these shortcut keys that are easy to remember and easier to execute. I'm going to use M for make path, and notice that when I assign it, it just added it to the list. So you can have as many shortcut keys as you want for any function. If I wanted to get rid of the Control H and use it for something else, I could, but again, I find Control H awkward, so I'm just going to just leave it alone, and M's the one I'm going to use. And then for break path, then I can come in and I can use K and assign K for break path, and the K corresponds to the K. Now the reason I didn't use B is because I remember I already have B assigned for bottom alignment, and so I'm going to leave the B for bottom alignment, and then I'm going to remember the K because K is in the word break. I think I can remember that. So then once I go through the list, and I also have provided a list of just suggestions, and trust me, these are just suggestions for you. A whole list of them. I think I used 25 of the 26 letters of the alphabet. On some of them, I had more than one suggestion. Just look at them, and you certainly don't have to set them all up. Set up the ones for things that you know you use a lot, and then those are the ones that you'll enjoy. A few of them also I think are going to be really handy for me. Cut plotting defaults. That's one I go to so often. So the cut plotting defaults, I think of that as just defaults. I'm going to make that one D. Assign D for plotting defaults. Another one that I use is the options, Klic-N-Kut setup, general preferences, and I use that one when I go in and change, say my grid spacing or the offset when you're using Control Duplicate. I'm going to make that one a P. Or you might prefer P to be print instead of Control P for print, or whatever. Again, it's whatever works best for you. Again, once I have them all, I click on Apply. And now then, before I actually test them out, take note that when you go under your menu, you'll actually see your shortcut key. So when you assign your own custom ones, it adds it to your drop-down menus too, so you'll see it there. Or if I go under Layout Array, I see the letter A. If I go to Make Path, Break Path, I see my M and K added. So that's kind of nice too, because so when you go to the menu, you'll see those, and it'll remind you, oh yeah, you set up your own shortcut keys for those things. So here I am back in my main sign blank window, and I can select my star and press the letter A, and it will take me into the Layout Array window, and I can perform my my array, my circle of stars. Click on Close and delete that one, and then we'll just weld this together. I can add my notes function by just pressing the letter N, and then I can type in star array. Click on Close, and I have added my label to the file. And then lastly, I can press the letter G, and it deletes all of my guides. And then of course I have the other shortcut keys that I set up: Arrange, Make Path, and Break Path. Anyway, I hope this was very informative, and let me know if you have any questions.